through the legs, through the lower body. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And so next week we'll have a different theme. And we'll also do a little heart opening tonight too. Brene Brown has been talking recently in her podcasts and offerings about having a warrior spirit and what it means to have a strong back and a soft front. So we'll be playing with that too, that energy of having a fortified spine, an upright sort of person, so we're able to receive in a loving way, even when we're confronted with more challenging things. So, which 2020 has just given us in spades, right? Like all of us are being called upon to have strong spines and soft fronts. So, and that doesn't mean we're going to skimp on the ab work either. So we're not, Martha's like, shucks. So it's not a soft middle, it's a soft heart. So let's start tonight in a meditative seat. So bring yourself into a comfortable cross-legged seat that feels good to you, perhaps with your hips lifted on a surface. So that might mean a block or a blanket, something tucked under the sits bones. Good. And start to come into your breath. And if you're like me, it's perfectly possible that you live your life in either the more hot all the time or the more cool all the time. So check in with that. What is your natural tendency? Is it to speed up, fast, hot, intense? Is it to slow down, cool, less active, more slow moving? Just start to notice that tendency in yourself and start to bring more awareness into your breath. Nice and fluid, in and out. And maybe even close your eyes here. Breathing nice and full. Maybe start to ruminate on that concept of finding more balance, right? The hot and the cool, the light and the dark. Maybe acknowledging the spaces within you that are both light and dark. And maybe start to invite in an intention for your practice this evening. And as you start to breathe in that intention, notice how the spine reacts to it. Maybe there's a gentle lift in your sternum as the rib cage expands. Maybe there's a softening of the upper back and shoulders as the breath leaves out of the nostrils or the mouth.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you're here. made it.
That's okay. I was just sitting here looking through my phone, and it's what I would have been doing anyway, so no big deal. So are you already in the process of it? Are we?
Yep, we are live.
Okay, all right.
We're in meditation. That's why everyone's so quiet.
All right, I'll mute myself.
And as you breathe here and you're noticing the reaction of the spine, the sternum, the rib cage, see if you can exaggerate that motion a little bit. So when you inhale, maybe drawing the shoulder blades together, pressing the sternum forward, and as you exhale, allow the shoulder blades to separate behind the back and draw the navel in toward the spine. So this is almost like a miniature cat and cow situation where you're tilting the pubic bone down, and then you're drawing the pubic bone in and up with the exhale. So the pelvis is starting to tilt back and forth. And you're starting to feel some play in the low part of your spine, the flexible part of the lumbar spine, all the way down to your sacrum. Giving your seat a little massage. And if you're comfortable in an ujjayi breath, which is the breath of the warrior, you start to make a sound in the back of the throat. It's sort of like the energy you would have if you were going to fog a mirror. That's sort of like a hum that you create. This is going to be a more heating breath. Since we are moving into that more yang heat part of our flow, you can activate a breath like that. Or you can just breathe through the nostrils in and out with some intention. And we're simply rocking the pelvis back and forth, drawing the shoulder blades together, and then reaching them apart. And now, if you can, start to bring in some spiraling here. So we're kind of rocking around like a nice big jump rope with the spine, creating a churning sensation. I like to inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. You can even get the neck involved if you like. I like to press my chin forward as the sternum comes forward and then draw the chin into the chest as I roll backward. So you'll be feeling sensation through the spine from the base all the way up to the crown of your head. And then switch and go opposite directions. Notice if that does anything for you. If you're spinning right, go left, and vice versa. Good. Full spinal celebration. For 3 more rounds. And on the last round, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, come directly onto hands and knees and curl the toes under. We'll come immediately into plank pose. If plank is new for you, you can also enjoy a half plank pose by leaving the knees on the floor. The pelvis will press forward. Nice long spine from the crown of the head out to the tailbone. If you're feeling a little more energized and you want to come all the way up, feel free to lift the knees to curl the toes under. So maintaining that yang heat building practice, we inhale into a flat plank and then we exhale to lift the hips to downward facing dog. The knees can be bent here to start with. Inhale, springing forward into your plank, pressing into the hands, nice flat back, strong abdominals. Exhale, float it right back to downward facing dog. So we'll go in and out for 3 more rounds, rolling forward with the in-breath, building some heat in the body. Exhale, rocking the hips up and back. Inhale, rolling forward. Exhale back. Good, we have 1 more round here. Inhale, rolling forward. Exhale back. This time coming onto the tippy toes, maintaining that flow. Inhale. As you exhale, begin to walk your feet forward between your hands. So there can be a soft bend in the knees here. As you inhale, slide your hands up your shins. Lift yourself halfway. As you exhale, deep forward fold. Again, knees can be bent. Now, one vertebra at a time, starting to scroll the spine to standing as you inhale. Lift the arms up and overhead, big reach. Fingertips can touch. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Good, Uttanasana. Inhale, lifting halfway, lengthen out through the crown of the head from the tailbone. As you exhale, send your right foot back to the back of your mat. We will be coming down into a low lunge. If you have knee tenderness, slide your blanket or your towel under your knee to give yourself some extra cushion. As we inhale here, arms lift overhead for one big breath, a modified sun salutation B. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right in a plank pose, big breath in. Option to take a back bend here. So you might drop your knees and come all the way down to your belly or halfway through chaturanga. You can take either a cobra pose or an upward facing dog here. We will all meet in downward facing dog. I always in my classes give options to skip a vinyasa. If that doesn't feel right for your body, you can always come from plank immediately into down dog or tabletop to down dog. Inhale, the right foot steps between the hands. Left knee softens down onto your mat. Inhale, arms rise. One big breath in for a low lunge. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. Step it back to plank. Option to come through to a back bend or melt straight into downward facing dog. Good, we're gonna take one more round here before we get to our first yin posture. Take a breath in, come up onto the tiptoes. As you exhale, either stepping or floating your feet to meet your hands, depending on your desire. Inhale, hands slide up the shins, nice flat back. Good, reach out through the tailbone. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way up you go. Reaching and straight back down, hinging from the hips, forward fold. All the way down. Good. Inhale, slide the hands up the shins, lift yourself halfway. Exhale, palms plant, right foot back. Right knee slides down onto the mat. If you want extra heat, you can keep the back knee lifted, rising either to high or low lunge. One breath. Exhale, let it float you right back down. Left foot meets right at the back of the mat. All the way down you go. Or halfway through chaturanga, adding the back bend. Exhale, down dog. Right foot forward, immediately step it through the hands. Good. Back knee softens or keep it lifted for more heat. Rise up for one breath. Exhale. Hands float back down to the mat. This time, plank pose. Let the knees settle down. Wide knees here as you flow back into child's pose and take 3 breaths. Starting to slow the breath here. Preparing ourselves for the first yin posture of the class. 2 more breaths, nice and slow. Start to notice the rhythm of your heartbeat here. With all that movement, perhaps your heart rate has increased. Notice it slowing as the breath becomes more fluid, more generous. The ribs become more open, the belly softens. Start to make your way into downward facing dog or all fours, depending on how you feel, to transition to our first held posture. So we're going to come into a lizard pose, which is a hip opening posture with the opposite knee down. So again, if you have knee tenderness and you're like, oh, it wasn't a big deal before, we will be on the knee a little more now. So having a blanket under the knees is a perfect way to give yourself a little bit of extra support. So from here, from downward facing dog, we'll take left side first. The left foot steps to the outer edge of the left hand, toward the outer edge of your mat on the left side. And the right knee comes down either onto your blanket or towel or maybe your mat. If you don't have a towel or a blanket, but you want a little extra cushion, you can also double your mat over for this. And we'll start to just allow the palms to support and allow the left knee to kind of creep open a little. And see if you can really allow the weight of the pelvis shifting forward to open the hips here. So instead of taking a real active muscular tightening, we're just going to let things sort of hang out. If you feel like there's a little more stretching here for you, or if you want to go a little more deep into the posture, you can rest a block under your forearms. If you're very flexible in this shape and you want to bring your hands or your forearms all the way down to your mat, that's also fine. But we will be hanging out here for about a minute and a half on either side. So you will have an extended hold. So you want it to be a posture that feels really supportive to you. I always say with yin, it's nice to go to about 75% of your capacity for opening and just let the body experience the posture the way it wants to, kind of in a neutral way. Maybe you're starting to feel some opening in your right hip flexor. About 15 more seconds on this side. Notice where the mind starts to wander as you hold a pose for a little longer. See if you can bring it back to your intention for your practice. Bring it back to softness, back to cool. And then slowly, with the support of your hands on your mat, start to slide that left knee back to meet the right knee. Open the hips and take a child's pose. Just a little reset for a moment and just notice how that shape landed in the body. Notice what sensations are present. And then slowly transitioning to the opposite side. So that might just mean coming up on hands and knees for you and then stepping that right foot out. It might mean a trip through downward facing dog. So whatever you feel more comfortable, however you feel more comfortable approaching this posture, we'll start to come into lizard on the right. Right foot to the outer edge of your mat, outside of the right palm. And again, just ease into it. So we're up on the hands for now. I'm taking a more mellow version of this shape. And just allow that right knee to kind of creep open in space. Allowing the pelvis to naturally descend down towards your mat. And if it is more sensation that you desire, again, a prop under the forearms is a beautiful way to kind of go a little further with the sensation. And see if you can bring more ease into your breath, letting go of any labored breathing you've been doing, just allowing things to be nice and cool. If you feel like there's excess heat in the body, I recommend that you purse your lips and breathe as if you were breathing through a straw. This will give a really cooling breath. And we'll sort of put that fire out a little bit. And if the mind starts to wander again, bring it back to your intention. And then we'll slowly start to make our way out of this shape. Again, touching through a child's pose. Closing out the first touch of yin that we've experienced in this class. More to come. This is also a posture that you are always welcome to come into if you are feeling overworked, overwhelmed, overheated. It's perfectly wonderful to drop into a child's pose at any time you just need some relief. And as you inhale, start to lift yourself out of your child's pose, moving back into your plank. So straight back into that fire. Keep the breath nice and fluid, breathing 3 breaths here. Re-engaging through our power center, the Manipura, the city of jewels, our belly. Big breath in. Exhale to downward facing dog. With an inhale, start to reach your right or left foot, left foot forward between the hands and spiral your back heel down. So you're preparing here for a warrior 2 shape. There's a beautiful intersecting line between the heel of the front foot and the arch of the back foot. And we'll start by lifting the right arm up to the sky. Good. So we're in an open twist here. If you have a belly like mine right now, I don't think any of you are actually pregnant, but this is a perfectly lovely way to have a twist that's more safe for pregnancy. On an inhale, start to activate your right abdominal obliques and lift yourself up to center. Good. So coming right back into that heat. Nice deep bend into the left knee, deep press out of the blade of the back of the right foot. So feel that back foot pressing outward. Feel an external spiraling through your left thigh and reach the arms long. And we're going to come through a dancing warrior to again bring some heat into the body. So as you inhale, flip your left palm, sweep the arm up and over, big arc as the right hand traces the outer edge of the right leg. As you exhale, you'll bend your left elbow, bring the forearm down to the thigh, and stretch that right arm up and overhead. So this is 1 round. Inhale, we come back. Right hand slides down the right leg. Big lift, big arcing through the left side. Exhale, draw it forward. Forward, forearm comes down to the thigh. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Good. Let's take 3 more rounds with your breath. Inhaling back. Exhaling forward. Right arm reaches up and over. Inhale back. Good. Create some resistance. Imagine that you're moving through honey. But there's some resistance in the body. You're kind of swimming along. Final reach back. Inhale. Exhale. Coming into side angle to hold. Left forearm down onto the thigh, right arm up and over. If there's an extended version of this posture that is familiar to you that you like bringing the left hand onto the inside of the left foot or coming into a half or full bind, you're welcome to do so. If you want to supercharge your abdominals here and bring more heat, you can extend both arms up and overhead. So the biceps are framing your ears. This is going to add a lot of heat to your posture. We're going to hold for 3 more breaths. Inhale, rising back up to your warrior 2. Exhale your breath here. Hold on for just 1 more minute. Inhale, straighten your front leg. 1 more breath, not 1 more minute. That would have been a long hold. Inhale, extend the left arm out by your side. Start to draw your left hip inward as you reach your left fingertips long. So legs are nice and straight. We're coming into triangle pose. On an exhale, bring your left hand either down to your shin, your mat, or a block. Right shoulder should stack directly over left. Right fingertips to the sky. And we're going to make this one a little more active. So feel a deep press into your right foot. Big, strong press down. Feel the thighs squeezing toward one another. Imagine that your thighs are like scissors and they want to come back together. Again, if you really want to supercharge this posture and bring some more heat into the belly, you can extend the left arm out towards the wall in front of you or behind you, depending on where you are. Bicep comes up towards the ear, making an L shape with the arms. Good, and then we'll inhale to rise back up and simply switch legs. So you'll dial your left toes in toward the long edge of your mat and your right toes out toward the short edge of your mat, switching the orientation of your feet. Check down to make sure, again, that you've got that beautiful intersection between your right heel and your left arch. Inhale, arms long. Exhale, drop right into your warrior 2. Again, maintaining that heat in the body, that yang energy. Masculine, strong, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And when I talk about masculine and feminine energies in yoga, we're not talking about male and female. We're really talking about an essence. So either gender can be either or at any time. Flip that right palm up towards the sky. Slide the left hand down the left leg and give a big reach back, starting that dancing warrior. Exhale. Right elbow starts to bend as the forearm comes onto the thigh. Left arm stretches up and over. Good. Inhale it back. Find that big arcing motion, that celebration of the spine. Exhale it forward. Forearm comes down, left arm up and over. 3 more rounds. Inhale. And exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Final round where you are. Big inhale back. Deep bend into that right knee. Really find that heat. Exhale. Forearm comes down to the thigh. Left arm up and over, and pause here. So we'll pause here and breathe. Staying right here, or maybe you are exploring a different variation of this shape for about 5 more breaths. Allow that heart to reach up toward the sky. Feel the energy building in the body, the heat building in the legs. 1 more long breath in. Exhale to come back up to warrior 2. Inhale to straighten your right leg. Right fingertips long out by your side, straight from the shoulder. Start to work that left hip back as you stretch those right fingertips long. And exhale to bring the hand onto the inside of the right foot. Again, it can be propped on a block or maybe even your shin. Just make sure that that left arm or shoulder is stacking directly over the right. Left fingertips high. Deep press into that back left foot. Feel the length in your side body here. Feel the strength of your thighs squeezing together. Feel the strength of your feet. Good, taking 2 more breaths. Again, if you want to turn up the heat on this posture, you can extend that right arm out long. Take that support away. We're really going to build those strong abdominal oblique muscles. Give 1 more big breath in. Good, exhale, all the way up you come. Now, again, preparing for our yin posture. Bend into your right knee and pinwheel the hands down. We'll be stepping our knees down onto the mat. So coming onto the knees. And we'll take this posture in 2 parts. So first is really designed to open up the fascial tissue in the bottoms of the feet. So if you're a runner, if you wear heels to work or things like that, there's a lot of tissue in the feet that gets really bound. It's a big opener. It can be intense as well. So you can give yourself a break when you need to. So you come into the posture as you start to curl the toes under, and you're simply going to sit your heels back, or your hips back onto your heels. So you're sitting down onto your heels. And at first you're like, oh, no big whoop, right? You'll start to feel the toes and the arches really open. The sensation can be intense. So again, let's bring that slowness to the breath, that cooling moon quality. Checking in again with the heart rate. Noticing this beautiful departure from all of that hot movement as we melt into a place of more static and still. Perhaps your mind wants to place judgment on that. Which one do I like better? Which one am I more comfortable in? See if you can detach from the favor of one or the other and just see if you can experience the sensation as an opportunity to learn something new about yourself. And again, if this pose is starting to feel too intense for you, you can simply lift your hips just a little bit, and that'll take a little bit of the pressure off of your feet. Hanging out here for about 30 more seconds. And then slowly begin to release out of your pose. Allow the toes to press down towards your mat and simply bring your hips back to rest now on your feet laid totally flat on the floor. If that doesn't feel good, you need to come forward and wiggle out your toes a little bit. That's also fine if you need to relieve any tension there. So for this next one, you'll need your towel or your blanket. And we're going to roll the towel or blanket, I'll show you mine, up into like a little burrito roll. And the bulkier it is, the more sensation you'll have, and the flatter it is, the least sensation you'll have. So I'm rolling mine to about halfway. So what we're gonna do is come all the way up to standing on the knees, and then you're gonna situate your little burrito roll right in the crease of the knees. And from here, with feet flat down on the floor, toes flat too, you're simply gonna sit back. And you'll notice that this creates a little bit of pressure between the hamstrings and the calves. And so if the blanket or towel is positioned in the way we want to have it, you'll feel the calf muscle sort of being compressed downward and flattened. You'll also start to feel some pretty intense pressure behind the hamstrings. And again, if you're a runner or somebody that sits for long periods of time, this might cause a little bit of like, ooh, that's intense. So if you need to back off, you'll simply shift your weight forward for a few seconds and breathe, and then kind of come back into the posture. This is again working into that really deep muscle tissue. So we've warmed our low body muscles with all of that beautiful warrior work and all of that movement, and now we are getting into the belly. Again, checking in with the mind, with your intention. Are you creating a story around the posture? Or skipping ahead, I wonder what our next movement's going to be. And you just be present with what is here with you, the sensations that are here with you now. Notice if you're holding a lot of energy in your shoulders or in your belly. See if you can soften the upper body a little bit. Not necessarily rounding, but just softening the posture around your back. Allowing the weight of the body to do all of the work for you right now. Even the muscles of the face soften. You can imagine your muscles, instead of fighting the opening, starting to surrender. To embrace the compression, to embrace the sensation, to embrace the opening. And now starting to move away from the posture. Bring yourself forward. Maybe resting one hand on your block or your mat for stability as you remove your rolled up blanket or towel. And then again, just take a moment to drop into a child's pose that feels good to you. Taking about 3 breaths in and out to reset. And to experience the after effect of both the toe stretch and the calf stretch. Press the palms into the mat, flex the toes under, and then move back into a downward facing dog. And notice how it might feel a little different than your last one. after that deep muscle work. There's a tendency to assume that in yin yoga it's a lot of laying around. But moving toward that cool, toward the dark side of the moon, there's a lot of work to be done there. There's a lot of beauty, a lot of sensation to explore. So notice how that's taking shape in your body as you move back into a more warming posture. And then inhale the left foot between the hands. We're in a low runner's lunge. Start to power up the legs as you rise into a high lunge. Good, arms come up overhead to build a little more heat. So we're gonna do a little in and out kind of karate kick situation. So begin to shift your weight onto your left foot. You can even step your right foot in a little bit if you need to. I'm gonna bring my hands up overhead, and then we'll step onto the left foot, bring the right knee in toward the belly, arms come out forward, and we kick the leg straight. Good. And then we exhale and bring it right back down. And then it'll just be like one big motion. So big, arms drop down, leg extends, arms rise, leg back. Good, let's do 3 more. Big kick, exhale. Inhale, bring it back. Big kick, exhale. Inhale, bring it back. Feel that heat already building. 2 more. Big kick, woo, maybe you lose your balance like me. And bring it back. 1 more time, big kick. Bring it back. Good. This time, step onto the left foot. Bring that knee in and then pause. So the knee is lifted. Arms come down. So hands rest on your hips. And we're gonna come right into a hip opener. So start to spiral that knee around. So we're kind of opening the window and then wrapping it around. Good. Woo. And then maybe you catch the ankle and bring the inside, or bring the foot onto the inside of the thigh for tree pose and pause. Good. So if tree pose is new for you, you can always bring your hand against the wall. If you need a little extra support, or rest your hand on a chair, you can have your toes touching the mat. So the left toes can be on the mat, the knee turned out. This is a beautiful tree. You could also have your foot on your calf if it doesn't slide up easily onto the inseam of the pant. We want to avoid the knee. There's a deep press of the foot against the thigh and thigh against the foot with equal pressure. Good, take a final breath in where you are, and then slowly come on out. Good, and then just take a moment to kind of rock the hips back and forth. Again, noticing that maybe perhaps jarring juxtaposition between the moon work that we did and then going right back into that heat phase. Good. So stepping again to the front of the mat, resetting with a big inhale, arms rise up. So half sun salutation as you exhale to fold down all the way. Crown of the head reaching down toward the floor. Inhale, the hands slide up the shins. Exhale, press your fingertips into the mat. Slide your left foot back this time. Nice strong legs as you rise up to high lunge with your right foot forward. So again, coming into that karate kick sequence. Arms come up overhead. Shift the weight forward onto your right foot. Big kick. Out you go. And then bring it back. Moving with your inhale and exhale. Pick a sequence and go for it. And step back. Good. Big kick. And step back. 2 more. Big kick. Fire up that right leg. Step back. Last one. Big kick. And step back. Good. This time prepare for those hip openers. So big kick, Left knee comes in toward the belly, and then start to find some knee circles here. And your hands can be wherever they need to be to help with your stability. And if that is planted on something that's stable, go for that. Good, one more big sweep out. And then find your tree pose, wherever that might live for you on this side. So again, the toes might be on the floor. The foot might be up on the calf, or it might be way up in the inseam of the pant. Good. And feel your roots here. Feel that right leg really taking root down, nice and strong. Notice how that rooting allows for the crown of the head to reach up toward the ceiling a little more. Strong back and a soft front. Good. Breathing here for 3 more breaths. For 2 more breaths. And for 1 more breath. And then slowly make your way out of your shape. Bring the palms to face forward. Maybe you rock the hips back and forth if that feels good. But just take a moment to receive. Do a little body scan here. What sensations are present? Good. Inhale, arms come up and overhead. We'll be transitioning onto our back. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Bring the hands onto the mat and then step the knees down onto the mat. And simply sweep the feet to one side, bringing the butt down onto the mat. Extend the arms up by the ears. Nice and full breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly start to descend down onto your mat, curling the tailbone under. Back is strong, abdominals are engaged, and then slowly make your way down. Good. Coming into our final set of yin posture before we close out our practice tonight. If you have a block handy, grab your block. If you have a rolled up blanket handy instead of a block, roll it up so it's nice and chunky, because we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So as you inhale, press down into the soles of the feet and then slide your block right under that nice triangle-shaped bone right at the base of the spine, the sacrum. And you'll allow your shoulders to collapse down to the side. So we're really relieving the body of any exertion here. We're going to allow all the effort to leave the body and just allow the block to do its work. Feel yourself beginning to melt around your block. And if it takes some repositioning, reposition as you need to give yourself support in your low back so you can feel comfortable and safe resting here. You can even feel a weightlessness in your feet. You're not putting any pressure on your feet. They're just resting on your mat. So the only pressure they're experiencing is the weight of your legs. Option to stay here
or if you desire a little more hip opening, you can slide your block out from under your sacrum, bringing your spine safely down onto your mat, and then you'll slide the soles of your feet together and allow the knees to collapse open. If you have tender hips or you're still working toward hip opening here, you can even rest blocks under your knees or blankets or pillows under your knees here to give you a little extra support if that's what you need. And rest one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly if you're taking this shape. Allowing the breath to be sweet and natural. Allowing the shoulders to be restful, belly soft. And then from this shape, you may choose to take your Shavasana here. If you want to take a more traditional Shavasana, you'll start to straighten your legs out. See if you can keep your eyes closed the whole time as you transition into your Shavasana shape with as little effort as possible. Allowing the arms to lengthen down by the sides. Allowing the jaw to be soft, eyes to rest peacefully in their sockets. If you have a blanket handy that you're not using, it's sometimes nice as well to cover yourself with your blanket during your Shavasana if you want to get a little cozier. To be enlightened or to lighten up is to have a better relationship with the dark. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Start to deepen your breath. Begin to bring movement back into the body. Starting slowly at first. Allowing those movements to creep into the larger joints of wrists, ankles, elbows, knees. Eventually extending the arms up and overhead, giving yourself a big fingertip to toe stretch out. Maybe letting a big breath out of the mouth, just in a sigh. Releasing any last little vestige of stuff that might be hanging around in the body. And then slowly on your time, make your way back to a comfortable seat on your mat. Allowing your hands, palms to rest at heart center and shifting your gaze inward toward yourself. Giving yourself space to savor our last moment of our evening sadhana together. As you give yourself praise for making your way to your mat this evening against all odds. Giving yourself time to nurture your spirit and your body and your mind in the company of other yogis, even if it's via Zoom. And I give you all my utmost gratitude for giving me the incredible honor and pleasure of being your teacher tonight. It is truly, truly, truly my joy. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Really well done. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me with them at any time. Or you can hang out. I'll always hang out for a couple minutes after class and you can ask me anything you like.